All right, welcome back to another video. I got my headset working again. Unfortunately, there was an error that I was just looking into before I started recording where and I was watching a Bill Gates interview as well. But the server that I set up, the management server, looks like it won't start. It's saying Docker has returned an error 404 no such container. So I'm wondering if I have to save the state of this machine or something like that before I exit out. So I don't see anything about that, like a save option or anything like that. I guess I see export config, but it's a matter of it not even being able to start up. What if I duplicate it? I wonder if I duplicate it, then will the duplicate work? So far it hasn't been duplicated, but I figured what I can do is just delete it, create a new one, and then use that as a good opportunity to go and reinforce the things that I had learned in the previous video that took me 4 hours of pretty hardcore troubleshooting to solve. Just do that right off the bat will be really strongly reinforcing behavior. And unfortunately, I will have to, I think, Google some more, but I'll know what I'm looking for this time instead of just kind of shooting in the dark. All right, so I'm going to have to continually, and this is, again, the trade-off. If I got live gear, I don't need to worry about these kinds of issues as much with the Docker container, just randomly deleting and kind of not knowing what buttons I need to toggle. Those kind of issues are going to be lessened in actual physical gear. So let me look if there's something. The other thing I can do, and it's something I was doing before, I just closed it, but I can go ahead and or look at some of the logs in Docker, because if this is a Docker issue, Docker is just a container management software. So it's going to have logs, it's going to have configuration files. Those are all things I can look at and get a better sense of what's going on. So let's Google for some Docker logs. And here we go, Docker logs. And now we can log a particular container. Here we go. So let's try this. Docker logs --s follow. Oops, and it looks like I have to specify the name of a container, but that's not necessarily what I want to see. I want to see not information specific to a container. I want to see just kind of higher level information about Docker itself. So let's see what I've got. I mean, I can always look at information specific to a container. That could be useful. And it says there's no such container, 21BE68. Aha, C6, not 8. Okay. So there's no logs for this, unfortunately. There's all kinds of stuff here. I wonder. Oops, I can't even scroll up. This is pretty limited command line. What I can always do though is do a pipe less and just get paginated output. So yeah, it looks like there's something promising in GNS3 server. Tests. Oh, that's tests. Oh, no. GNS3 server. GNS3 server. Compute Docker. Whoops. So maybe resources. Bin. Okay, well, this is another thing where I guess it's not that big of a deal. I just need to, here's a Docker container. So what if I edit the Docker container? Looks decent. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the deal is, but as I said before, I think it'll be good practice to just configure everything again that took me so long to do in the first time. To be able to do that quickly and rapidly, I think is going to be a good skill that I would want anyway. So we should have a new Docker container now. Looks like so far there's only 3, and I'm not sure what the 3 of these are for. But you can see network_automation is the name of them, and that's the original name of this device I've got. Okay, so it looks like there are 4 now. But one of them's been created and the other 3 are up. So it'd be nice if I could. Aha, so this is not up, so I bet you it will turn to up now. Yep, so now it's up. So these other 4, I'm not sure what they're about, but I know the ID of the one I'm into, so I can go docker exec -it and then C019AD7972DE. Oops, and then bash. So now I'm on the CLI, but it's the same CLI I have here, which I'm kind of surprised there's a GNS folder in there. I didn't see that when I was in here before. Oh, yeah, well, okay. It just takes me automatically to root directory by logging in that way. All right, so everything looks pretty good. Let me do a Docker logs on that. So I'm going to, oops. Oh, right, okay, so it looks like my Control W hotkey for the Linux command line got overridden by the hotkey for Chrome. So it closed the tab instead of doing the thing that would have been nice for it to do. The thing that is not nice for it to do. This is it's logs. There's an S. Okay, so I'm not sure what, I think this just, oh, okay. So it just shows me what I'm doing. I'd like to see some different kinds of logs, not ones where I just follow. So yeah, that's not going to be very helpful to me because everything's going to be recorded in history. So all right, I'm just going to try to move on and get those configurations in place. So ifconfig, and then it's going to be ifconfig add, and we're going to add 172.16.1.0. It's going to be 255.255.255.252. Oh, and then it's going to be, oh, it says right here, it says we've got add, we've got net mask, and we've got, we don't have gateway, but I thought that was something that we did last time, so I'm surprised gateway's not there. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just try it. Net mask 255.255.252. I'll do a help here. It's not working, so gateway 172.16.1.1. Yep, and sure enough, the error getting interface flags, no such device. Oh, right. This is how you add a address to the ETH000. So this, and then I'm going to need a flag for, if we go, so ifconfig help, so I can add, and I can use the net mask, and then I can either use the hardware MAC address of the adapter I want to add it to, or I can do let's see here. Okay, so I can specify the interface there. So I can do ifconfig ETH0, and if I just do ifconfig, you can see I've got ETH0. So ifconfig ETH0. Now I'll just show ETH0. Help. Oops. So now I can add a address to it. 172.16.0.2 and a net mask. 255, 255, 255, 252. Cannot sign requested address. Well, why not? Okay. I don't know why it can't reassign the requested address. Oh, host name lookup failure. Well, here it says add address, and then you can do prefix length like that. But obviously that's a lie because I am doing that and it's not working. So interface, address, and then, oh, it looks like it needs the family. So it's going to be inet. Aha, so that's it. Okay, so whoops. But now we've got an extra eth0:0, but maybe that's fine. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And it looks like it is on eth0 as well. But the other thing we're going to need is, of course, some routes. So route help. And now you can see we've got the usage here, route, your options, and then address family. Which is going to be inet. I don't know what .fc is, but here we can do add. So route add. And that's all the help we get. Oh, it looks like we do help. So modify routing table for address family. So route fc add inet 172.16.1.0 /30. Oops, hostname lookup failure. Netmask hostname lookup failure. Yeah, so it's really not giving well, this is interesting. It's saying netmask doesn't make sense with host route. Well, this is not a host route, it's a network route. I don't know why the language in the help menu is so leaving so much to be desired. I wish it would just actually tell you what you need to do. So add, but see, these are not helpful. What is required there? Can you use CIDR notation? Do you have to use the fallout notation? Like, I wish it would just tell you what it wanted you to do instead of kind of assuming that you already knew. Okay, so the default is inet. So route inet add 172.16.1.0/30, and then gateway 172.16.0.1. So I don't. All right, I think I gotta look it up. Oh, so I need this -net. So I was really close. I was just forgetting the -net. But it doesn't tell you anywhere in the help that you have to do -net. I mean, there's inet, but I mean, I would think you would need to specify inet traffic with inet instead of net. So it seems to really be leaving a lot to be desired, the help there. I don't know how they expect somebody who doesn't already know to know. Okay, so let's see here. Ping 172.16.0.1, perfect. 1.1, perfect. 1.2, perfect. 2.1, perfect. 2.2, and you can see we've got a bit of a better route here than what we had before. But yeah, everything looks good on here. So now we're going to need to set up passwordless authentication. So we're going to need to generate a SSH key that is 2048 bits. So SSH key keygen. Oops. Okay, SSH keygen, and then we want it to be RSA. So that's going to be okay, RSA. Perfect. And now that it's RSA, or -t RSA, and now we want it to be the particular size. We want it to be 2048. So is that going to be -b? Oh, and this is going to be annoying too, because now we're going to have a different public key. I wonder if there's a way to just use the public key that's on there. But in the meantime, let's edit the hosts file. And add in the other devices. Okay, so now let's see here. So nano etc hosts, that looks good. Let's see if I can get the, oh yeah, passwordless authentication. So unfortunately, this is going to be kind of a nightmare because I've got to upload my new public key to the other servers. They have my old public key, but I can do that. So cd.ssh cat id rsa.pub. So here's my new public key. It doesn't have, I forgot to specify my email address too, but it doesn't matter for anything. Might need to grab a mouse or something because this is getting kind of difficult to work with. Okay, so everything looks good. I've just got to go in and fix up all the other routers to have the correct public key. So I'll open this and I'll get a mouse and be right back. All right, so everything's good to go. So now I just need to set up those public keys again, and then I'll have that nice management set up, and I'll have learned kind of how to do it again from the ground up and how to kind of keep my hands out of Google too, because that's the thing. Like, it's always nice to be able to do a Google search and learn something, but if you just don't have it down well enough to where you can't do it without relying on some tool like Google, you know, first of all, how fast you can do it, can you do it? And second of all, can you do it again consistently? Because that's what really matters, is if you can do it on the fly consistently when it matters for you to do it, and not an hour or the next day after you have looked into it. All right, so now it's time to enter the new key. Fortunately, it's going to take a while just by nature of the tools I have available to me. And unfortunately, this is not responding to my clicks. Okay, now it is, which is good, or at least it had been. Okay, so now, perfect, perfect. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so now we're going to get that nice and easy authentication to B, or sorry, to A. Yep, so nice and easy, quick authentication to A. So now we've got to get B all ready to go though. So it looks like we've got some extra stuff on here. I never deleted the old key from there. So I'll just delete both of those. Perfect. All right, so now real quick, easy passwordless authentication is now enabled on B. Of course, I gotta save the key, but now that that key is saved, it's gonna be just a matter of quick and easy authentication. So same thing for C, and then I'll be ready to complete this exercise, and I'll have learned something new that's not even a part of that documentation, but it's gonna be very, very useful later on. Oops, something happened. There we go. Phew, that was a relief. I thought I might need to enter that key in again, which is, wish I had a better process for this, but for me, the most important thing right now is just learning how to do this and putting it into motion and making sure that it works, which is something I have accomplished. So now it's time to move on and continue with the rest of the activity. I think one thing I will do before moving on, though, is try to take a snapshot so that if I happen to have the same situation where this management server no longer works, I can revert to the snapshot. So manage snapshots. So create snapshot, mgmt server working. mgmt server working, base configs on a PC. Perfect. Oh, shoot. And the project must be stopped in order to export it. That's too bad. Yeah, I'm not gonna, maybe at the end I'll do that, but it takes a long time to stop and restart a project. So for now, I'm just gonna focus on the content and continue. Oops, but it looks like my Google Drive stopped working. It looks like it's not letting me click on the things I want to click on. Okay, so now back to BGP, back to implementation, and then back to IBGP and EBGP. All right, and now back to the exercise. And I believe I had finished reading, let's see here, so understanding internal EBGP connections. That's right, so yeah, I finished reading that. One thing I would like to just read again, just because of how critical this is this here. So when a device peers with a remote device's loopback interface address, the local device expects BGP update messages to come from, be sourced by, the remote loop device's loopback interface address. The local address statement enables you to specify the source information in BGP update messages. If you would omit the local address statement, the expected source of BGP update messages is based on the router's source address selection rules, which normally result in the egress interface address being the expected source of update messages. When this happens, a peer session is not established because a mismatch exists between the expected source address, the egress interface of the peer, and the actual source, the loopback interface of the peer. To make sure that the expected source address matches the actual source address, specify the loopback interface address in the local address statement. So that's really important. The other thing I want to pull up quick is the source address selection rules. Just so we can get a little bit more information. Yeah, so here we go. If the source address is not explicitly specified, as in the case of Telnet, then by default, when default address selection is not specified, the source address chosen for locally generated IP packets is the IP address of the outgoing interface. So I wonder what this is all about. So the default address is used as the source address for all locally generated IP packets on outgoing interfaces that are unnumbered. If an outgoing interface is outnumbered, the default address is chosen according to the following sequence. So you can just enter in, under Edit System, you can just enter in default address selection instead of local AS for your BGP. And then from that, you would use the loopback LO0 as the source address for all locally generated IP packets when the packet is sent through a routed interface, and also when the packet is sent through a local interface, such as the management port. The LO0 interface is the interface to the routers or switches routing engine. So that could be useful as well. It could be another way to overcome that limitation in IBGP, where you can have a instance where your packets are not sent with a source address that is useful to the routers you send your packets to. Okay, but moving on. So I did configure A. I'm just going to double check that that's configured. Oh, and I'm going to use the management server to do that. The nice and fancy, easy way of configuring now. So pretending that I'm in a production environment. So this is all I need to do if I were set up properly in a, I'm still on the console of C. Okay, so CLI, that makes more sense. And now management server SSH. So if I were in a production environment and everything, now I'm logged into C. God damn it. Okay, clear. Okay, so if I were in a production environment, everything was set up nice. This is all I need to do, and everything would be secure, encrypted, perfect, and logging in would be as simple as this. So, but let's check router A instead of router C and make sure the configuration is good to go. Oops. So type internal connection, yeah, it all looks good. So time for router B. Oops. Yeah, look how easy that is. So configure private, edit interface, GE-000. Oh, and yeah, let's take a show pipe display set relative because there's already going to be configuration on there for management. And actually, this is something. Oh no, I went back and I configured it the way it needs to be configured. Did I change the loopback address though? No, loopback address is still unit 1 or unit 0, but that I think that might be okay. Anyway, I mean that'll just be a good troubleshooting exercise if it goes wrong. So edit unit 2, set VLAN ID 2, set description to router A, set family inet address 10.10.10.2/30. And these are interconnect addresses. They're not going to be, wait a minute. Oh, right. So this is for our customer network for moving those routes around. I also set up a separate management network. So that looks good. Oops, it's not going to be 0, it's going to be 2. Wish it could just be easy to do it. Then anyone could do it if it were easy to do it. There wouldn't be such demand for competent engineers then, because anyone could do it. So in some sense, it's good that it's a little bit difficult. All right, edit policy options, policy statement, send direct, term 2. What happened to term 1 again? Okay, so top, edit routing options, router ID 192.13.6.4. Oop, and it's not going to be edit, it's going to be set. Now set routing options, system 17. Oops. Go. And it's definitely a lot more leggy now that it's connected from the management server. That's kind of unfortunate. All right, so now it's time for device C. And look at that, there's all the hard work to figuring out that paid off because of how quick and easy that was to log in. Oh, and it's already set up that way because it's got my management network on there. That's the way I'm able to access that. I've got static routes and I've got VLAN tagging set up so that my management network can be held separate from my traffic, and I can apply QoS settings if I want to it. So let's see here, edit unit 6, set VLAN ID 6, set description to be, internet address 10.10.10.6/30, top edit 0 unit 3, set family INET address 192. 68.40.4/32. Top edit protocols, BGP, group. Internal peers, set internal, set option. All right, so hopefully this is going to be all it takes to have this work. So I'll skip this step by step. There's usually nothing. I mean, sometimes there's some extra information. So the neighbor statements are included for both device B and device C, even though device A is not directly connected to device C. So, and then other useful options for this scenario might be to accept routes learned through OSPF or local routes. So sometimes there's some good information there. In configuration mode, confirm your configuration. So we'll just confirm it using type display set type form no more. And we'll just confirm it as part of troubleshooting. All right, so looks like they're going to give it for router A, B, and C. So, but we're interested in the verification. All right, so it's time to do some verification. take a look at BGP neighbor statement on router A. So I don't see the state. Looks like here, okay, here it is, state active. So there's an issue there that I'll need to resolve. That's okay. I mean, that's kind of the point. So I think kind of the best first step is just, can you even ping it? No route to host. So show route. And sure enough, we don't have that route. All right, so now I need to figure out what is going on. We should be learning this route. So it looks like it's going to be the loopback route. I'm getting a battery low message on my my headset again. Show configuration int LO0 or not, yeah, LO0. So yeah, these are going to be all the loopbacks. So I think I'll leave that to the next video to troubleshoot and do all these verification commands. In this video, we refreshed how to set up passwordless authentication by uploading the public keys and just using that for authentication instead of a password. We looked at how to create a custom DNS mapping in Linux. We looked at how to configure an IP address on an interface in Linux and how to add static routes to Linux. Other than that, we just finished the configuration. So stay tuned for the next video where I go through all the verification steps and troubleshoot and resolve all the issues. Thanks for watching.